What's up, guys? Welcome to another Tuesday Tip. Today I wanted to go over one that's near and dear to me because I get asked about it so often, and that is how to make your legs look bigger. And no, this isn't a video on how to improve your sweep. So obviously when you talk about, your legs looking bigger, everyone is so focused on putting as much meat as possible on their quads. Absolutely a great focus to have. That focus absolutely should not shift. What I see more often than not, though, is that focus is completely lacking on the inside of your leg. So I can't tell you how many people that I've seen that have great quadricep development, but then they have like a thigh gap all the way up to their nutsack, and it makes their legs look incomplete. In bodybuilding, the more negative space you eliminate, negative space being, like gaps in your physique, whenever you're posing, the bigger you're going to look. Think about Dorian Yates hitting a lat spread. From behind, there's literally no gap in between his arm and his back. It's literally just like this huge like meat blanket. Or think about like Ronnie Coleman's legs. That's a great example for this. He'd have his legs staggered wide, but his adductors would literally be touching all the way down to his knees almost. So keep on focusing on your quad sweep, but this Tuesday tip is about adductors. So by focusing on your adductors, by making it a priority the same way that you prioritize your quad development or your hamstring development, you're going to have a very complete looking leg. In your front shots, you're not going to have any thigh gap. They're going to be touching all the way down to your knee eventually, like mine do and a bunch of other guys that have really developed ones. But in addition to that, what people don't really think about whenever they develop their adductors like really, really big is in your side shots, you're able to get so much more of your hamstring fanned out by using that adductor, especially when it's developed. It's literally like a perch to push that hamstring out. So both in your front shots and your side shots, and then in your back shots, obviously, your adductors poking out with your hamstrings is freaky. So it is a very often neglected muscle that can make a huge difference in what your leg development looks like. So how do we train our adductors? Chances are, if you are doing the compound lifts you should be doing, i.e. some kind of squat, and then, if you have a deadlift variation or a sumo variation, maybe that, but, primarily, you're going to be getting most of your adductor work if you aren't training them directly through your squatting work and maybe lunges. That's great. Just like everything else that you're trying to develop, beyond the level of development you have to focus on them. Enter the adductor machine. All right, guys. So, talking about how we make our legs look bigger by developing our adductors, let's actually talk about how to perform the adductor machine exercise. Let's talk about how to perform the exercise. So the biggest thing for this is you want to have stability, just like we have in all of our other exercises. How do we have stability in this? You're going to have stability by keeping a neutral spine, not letting your hips like roll out and see. So we're going to keep a neutral spine. You're going to grab these handles. They're there for a reason. And pull yourself in as hard as you can. And then think about, with your leg, maintaining a degree of neutrality in terms of internal, external rotation. And think about driving from the inside of your knee. You don't want to be pushing with your feet at all. You should be able to take your legs off and think about just bringing your knees together. Notice as I get out into the motion, I'm not allowing my knees to roll out and tension come off of them. Like I said, I'm keeping a relatively neutral foot in terms of internal and external rotation, getting to a full stretch, and then a full contraction. And just like everything else, own the negative and then contract as hard as possible. So, obviously, this is the way we're going to isolate our adductors. And it's really funny because a lot of guys have an aversion to using this machine because they think it's like a girly machine. You need to get over that. Same thing with glute bridges. I had someone ask the other day in a Q&A, like, what's a good alternative to a glute bridge? Because, it's a girly exercise. And I literally responded, I was like, I don't know what's too girly about being able to like glute bridge with good form, like 5 or 6 plates. It's pretty impressive, powerful movement. But anyways, so far from a machine for a girl, but far from a machine that people think about like being like this, like take it to the death, all the way to failure kind of thing. And that is exactly how you need to be training them, just like everything else. That intensity you bring to your set of squats or your set of leg extension or hamstring curls, that's the kind of intensity you need to bring to your set of adductors. If you've seen us train legs, I know y'all have at this point. This is just like every other exercise. We are grunting them out, going to failure and forcing a rep or two and landing in that 8 to 12 rep range. That's another thing. You know, a lot of people go like 20, 30 reps because, you know, on some machines, the stack doesn't get heavy enough, this, that, and another. Get a gym pin. You need to train them hard, just like every other muscle in your leg and every muscle in your body. So that's this week's Tuesday tip. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope some of y'all get better legs because of it. If you like the tip, be sure to subscribe, and we will see you next week.